We are live. One person in with us. What's up, Jess P? Hey, Janie, how are you? Here it is. Okay. Jesse Good, how are you? Jess B, Jess Good, and Janie in the house. Yeah, YouTube only says one person's here. How's everybody's Saturday night going? Savage Lunatics, good evening. Kathy Hayes, good evening. How are you? I hear that, Jess B. I hear that. Hey, Danny, how are you? Darren K. I'm glad you're here with us. I'm not glad that you're in the hospital with an infection. I will keep you in my prayers. I'll actually, after the live, say a quick prayer for you later. I'll probably say one in the middle of the live too. So, what's up, Dallas Hoops? How are you, buddy? Tamela, Jay Cortez, Claire, Caden, how are you, bud? I saw the pussycat. I was wondering when Josie was coming. What's up, Troy? How are you? Peter Parsons, what's going on, my friend? Hey, Glenn. Whew. I think I burnt myself out this week. I don't even know. I literally at like midday was in my head going, can I do a live stream tonight? I'm like, I am so tired. And then I was like, you know what? You already said you were gonna. You're a man of your word. You've got to do it. Do it. Delirium, what's going on? Do you believe in Bigfoot being able to disappear? What's up, Ford Sucks? Yes, I think they are capable of using portals. I don't think like magically they just like, magic disappear. I think they use portals, and they have the ability to use them. They know possibly where they may be located. I'm not sure, but yeah, I do. Hey, Gringo, how are you, my friend? John Sumner, what's going on? House is looking good. The revamping everything that you're getting. It is what it is. How are you? Poppy from Sweden. I'm Poppy. I honestly, I can't take naps. I don't know if it's like, I don't even know what it is. I'm just burnt out. You know what I mean? I'm just burnt. What's going on, Andy Davis? How are you? Chris Mills, what's up? Sure, Andy Davis. Let's see or hear your horrible joke. Adam Condon, how are you, buddy? Steve-O? Jason, what's going on, my friend? Larry Lindman, thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate you. Holy shit. Starting the night off. Holy shit. Thank you. You are honestly too kind. Yes, Ford. I agree. I heard that as well. I actually, what's up, Derek Davis? I was reading an article about portals and other things. Someone said that the oil and Bigfoot's produced property might allow them to disappear using naturally empty. I think that's their theory. I've never heard that, and to be quite honest, it doesn't even sound feasible to me. I'm not sure, but it's their theory. So, What was I going to say? I was going to say something. I forget. Yeah, scientists and portals. I was reading about that, and they said like when they were talking about when portals open, the sulfur, the odd smell, and I thought the same thing. I was like, whoa. People say they smell Bigfoot and Dogman on certain occasions, and certain times they don't. But what do we also attribute sulfur and that foul smell is demons. And I think portals bring us right to a realm of hell or something like that. Um, interesting. Interesting. Pine Knot. Pine Knot, how are you, buddy? What's going on, Jim Baker? How are you, my friend? Frank Morris. C3PO and R2D2 turn around and left. C3PO and LG walk into the bar and C3PO turned around and left. Jesus. Andy Davis. Tigger's just vegging. I don't know. Whatever was in my wall on Halloween died, so there's kind of a funk coming from my wall now, and I'm not happy about that. What's up, Nick Hendricks? How are you? You know, I figured you made that joke up, brother. I figured. Your sick sense of humor. No, but like that really is cool about that sulfur thing. And I completely forgot about that because I read somewhere when I was reading about inorganic beings and scientists proving that there are alternate dimensions right next to us and such. And just completely slipped my mind. So thank you for sharing that again. Sasquatch and Grandma, how are you? I got a raccoon in my attic. I don't think what I had DB Mac, what's going on, brother? I don't think what I had in my wall was a raccoon. It was something. Something died there 2 years ago, and it was a filthy, foul, rotten smell for a couple of fucking weeks. And I just opened the cupboard in the kitchen and right next to where the wall would be, and I'm like, "Oh shit." So I ground up some coffee grounds and put it in there. Is Glens Falls a nice place to live? It was named Hometown USA at one time. Mega, how are you? Peter Parsons, thank you so much. I appreciate the love. Really do. That's awesome. Thank you, brother. Winter Sky, how are you? Yeah. Darren K, it is not. It is I like where Tiggy's treats are. I open the thing to give him treats and I'm like, oh shit. And of course, Tigger's right there because he knows where his treats are. So his dumbass wants to go into the cupboard and smell the fucking foul smell. And I'm just like, nobody. Oh, Kakalina, how are you tonight? $20 is $20 thing. I thank you, BB Mac. Right before I started the live stream, I heard some commotion outside. And I literally watched a cop pull up behind the cop car that is normally parked there during our live stream night. And a cop got out of that one car, got in the other, and they both took off. So there is no cop car there tonight. First time in almost 2 years. So weird. Cryptid Cooper, how are you? Ska, what's going on? Janie, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Tiggy. Yeah, that's his nickname, Firehorse. Tiggy. What's up, Dave? You know, New England, I'm not sure. I just know that ever since I started the live, not the first night, but ever since I started the live, like maybe one or two after, um, there's been a cop there. And when Shackleneck came down to go to the Bigfoot Fest this year, I showed him. I was like, dude, come on, look at this. So you know I'm not fucking lying right here. And he's like, no shit. And I'm like, yep. Oh no. Sonia. So I do have a good stack of experiences. I've got a great lot lizard experience. It's Saturday night. Let's have some fun. I've got maybe. I remember one time, I probably shouldn't say this, but it was kind of funny. So I had to deal with the police, not myself, but this week I had to deal with police officers. And I didn't want to. Once again, not myself, but have you ever noticed, like, where I live, small town USA, and I actually had to go to my hometown, which is South Glens Falls. It's even smaller than Glens Falls. And I'm really good friends with the chief of South Glens Falls Police Department. I used to smoke weed with him when we were younger. And so I walk up to this incident that I had to deal with, and he's my size, looks kind of like me, real nice guy. But then there's two state troopers and a sheriff that look like they came off an industrial line. Like they look the fucking same. They are 6'2", 6'3", this fucking like odd shaped face. And it's like, are they mass produced or something? You ever notice that? They're just mass produced. They all like, where the fuck do they come from? Yes, Ford. That's exactly. I asked my dad that. I was like, Dad, check this out. I'm like, do you agree with me? And he's like, yeah. He's like, Skynet is real. He says to me. I'm like, that is awesome. Because they're like literally, they are so uniformed, you know? Like my hometown, South Glens Falls, there's like random chubby guys, a skinny guy, a bald guy. But then when you get to New York State Troopers or the sheriff department, they are all like 6'2", 6'3", fucking squared face, no hair. They have that weird penis haircut and fucking little wieners. And they're like, me. Fucking God. I don't know if they have little wieners. I'm just guessing. But they do say $20 is $20. So, well, I don't hate cops, Jim Baker. I don't hate cops at all. Don't think that. I just I don't like the personification, I guess would be the right word, that some of them produce, like the ones that stand like this, that look like they haven't pooped in 4 days. What's up, Kaufman? How are you, buddy? Yes, Darren K. Pooper troopers. We'll just call them pooper troopers. I'm sorry, Cacalina. I know, Beth Scott. Peanut. P, and then nut. And it wasn't the cops. It was DEC that did it, which I'm fucking shocked that they did that. I was actually really upset. Like, has anybody heard that? This guy, I forget his name. He's a TikToker. And he was down in New York City. He saw a female or a mom squirrel get hit. And he saw this little baby squirrel. And he raised it, right? And he named it P, nut. Not like PEA, but P the letter and then nut. And he team on a border jumper, thank you. And he made him famous on TikTok, right? But then these fucking trolls, these like narrow-minded fucking toolboxes were like, he can't raise a fucking squirrel. I want one. You know, half the people that called DEC wanted a squirrel, but they're too fucking idiotic to just like, I don't know. But they called, and then this poor guy has raised this thing for like years. It wasn't like just randomly found. He had it for a while. They came to his home. They treated him like he was a crack dealer. They fucking mobbed through his house, grabbed his fucking poor little squirrel and his raccoon. Like, what kind of fucking Soviet state do I live in? Well, when our governor looks like fucking Nancy Pelosi's daughter, I guess. Oh, it's terrible. I feel so bad for the guy. Like, you could see the I don't vote that way, Jim. You can see the tear, like the pain in his eyes, you know? Very sad. Thanks, Craig. You know I do, Jim Baker. All right. This is a very, very creepy experience. 1987, when I was 10 years old, we moved into a new house and a new neighborhood in northeastern Tennessee. My future best friend, we'll call him A, invited me to spend the night on a Friday after school. It was around the 1st of December or so, so there was a light snow that had fallen. This other kid we were friends with lived on the same street as me, was there as well. We played Nintendo, shot some basketball for a while, and started to get bored. A asked if we wanted to go to the pit. I said, "What's that?" He said, "Follow me." So we walked through his backyard. There was this huge abandoned rock quarry, and where we stood, it dropped about 50 feet down to this plateaued area. There was also a cave that was covered up by large boulders and stuff right under our feet. When you climbed down there to the plateau, there was another drop off about 80 feet from the very bottom, but you had to access it from the other street. Well, we climbed down onto the plateau area and just looking around when all of a sudden we see this thing. All we've known to ever call it is the creature. It was scaling the rock wall we were just standing on above, only about 150 feet to our left. It looked like it would have stood around 4 or 5 feet in height. It seemed to be covered in a whitish fur, so the snow camouflaged it. In the summer, in the hotter months, its coat was a brownish color. It climbed the wall like a man would. It turned to look at us, and we all bolted back up the cliffs to A's house and never looked back. I had nightmares about this for a couple weeks straight after that. This thing would mutilate cats, dogs, possums, etc. I've even seen deer that unfortunately got too close to the area that it's taken down. It's almost got a few of us when we were kids as well. What was weird is how it would kill. It would rip everything's spinal cord out of its body and eat its organs. It was around for several years and then it just vanished and shit just stopped. Crazy, scariest shit I've ever encountered in my entire life. I've searched and searched for what this thing may have been. I've gotten more into cryptids in the last little bit, but I cannot find anything similar other than a dogman, but I do not think it was tall enough to be a dogman, and it ran on all fours. If anyone has suggestions, please let me know. A little bit of follow-up. I never saw its face in a way. I wish I would have. In a way, I'm glad I never did. Too bad we didn't have smartphones back then like we do now, or I could have possibly captured some footage of it. All I know is that it did have fur, and I believe it changed as the seasons, as some sort of natural camouflage. My friend's dad said something chased him down the ditch line one summer night, right at dusk. He said it seemed to have horns. He jumped into his truck and didn't get out for close to an hour. It scared him that bad. We thought he was full of shit, just messing with us, but he swore up and down that he was not. So I'm guessing that maybe it had horns, probably 4 to 5 feet standing on its hind legs. This one time, when A and this kid that used to hang out with us got up their nerves with me, we decided to go down to the very bottom part that I talked about that was only accessible to the other street. There used to be this huge trash pile that you had to climb down into, like a hillside of crap. The guy who lived there dumped his trash down on the side of it. Now it's completely filled in because of him. Anyways, once you get to the bottom of this trash heap, it was like another world down there. It was almost prehistoric rainforest like setting, especially in the summertime. You would go down there and there were all kinds of weird shit lying around. We once found this huge turtle shell that was completely bleached white. But you would have to cross these fallen trees all over the place. So we messed around for a while and then started hearing crazy noises. We felt like, oh crap, run. A and I were skinny and fast, but the other kid kept falling over trees and such. We could see this shadow or something dark chasing his ass down, trying to catch him. We had those Whistler bottle rockets with us, and we were trying to shoot them at this thing. He lost his shoe, and we kept telling him to run, forget about the damn shoe. We also smelled something dead and found one of Andrew's cats torn apart. Its jaw was completely unhinged, spinal cord torn out of it like the others. People's dogs would go missing from time to time. Freaky as hell. One time we were sitting on this ledge of this little cliff going down to the plateau side over by my friend's house. We're just sitting there chilling and talking. And we had probably sat there for a good 30 to 40 minutes, and all of a sudden we heard what sounded like rocks and dirt sliding underneath our feet. It was like something had snuck up on us, grabbed us, but lost its grip or footing and slid down the hill. Talk about bolting the hell out of there and not looking back. Yes, don't forget to set your clocks back, 3 a.m. What's up, Ricardo? What's up, Clint? What's up, Robert Sharp? How are you, buddy? George Coker. Rando, how are you? Randy Man. It is totally unnecessary, I guess. Say it right. Clitoris Solari, how are you? Actually, your name gets me, and frickin' George Coker's name gets me sometimes. Has anyone encountered a portal before? Yes, multiple times. Not me. I've actually, I think I've recorded the sound of one opening, but I've had multiple people talk about their portals experiences. I know, little season. I gotta stop drinking. That's all I drink is Coke. Gotta go to the hospital for my heart. Robert Sharp, please be healthy and safe. I hope everything works out for you. You're in my prayers as well. Arthur Ostrander, what's going on, my friend? How are you? You know, Rando, that's actually interesting because being trapped in an alternate dimension. What's that? Remember Phantasm? I think it was like Phantasm 2, when the kid and Reggie are looking down and they're looking into the portal of hell, and they can see hell itself. And there's those little fucking Jawa looking things. That is just absolutely terrifying. I'm doing well, Tina Marie. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Phantasm 2 is a magnificent, terrifying movie. You know, I was thinking that, Jerry Burns. I was actually thinking about that. And thank you for that kind comment today, buddy. I appreciate that. What's up, Wayne? Please email it to me. I'd love to hear. I love encounters from the outback. Thank you, 87. Anushka. Hello, how are you? Larry Lindman. Holy shit. Thank you so much, my friend. Marry the booty, buy the tatas, stay toxic. Holy shit. Wow, you are in rare mode tonight, aren't you, Larry? Yes, get geared up on canned goods and silver and gold. Silver and gold. Very soon, DB Mac. Very soon, I promise. What's up, Tattoo Patriot? How are you? You know, have you guys? Okay, so I know that you guys listen to my channel and you guys listen to other channels, but there's an audio book that I absolutely love. And if you guys I don't know, get bored of me one day, I encourage you guys to check out this audiobook because it's such a great audiobook. It's called Adrian's Undead Diary. And literally it happens like there's a zombie apocalypse. And he talks about how he cleared out this school and hoarding canned goods. And his favorite canned good to eat is that canned brown bread that you eat with beans. Oh my God. But the audiobook is amazing. You guys will truly love it. I love it. It's great. Tigger is laying on the back of the couch somewhere. Stairs in the Woods is a creepypasta. Occasionally you will find some stairs in the woods from like an old like homestead that burnt down or crashed down, but there are no that's a creepypasta. They made a TV show about it. Like that's not true. You will find bricked stairs but they're like hundreds of years old, maybe 75 years old. But having a stairwell go up with carpet on it, no. Yes, canned brown bread, and you eat it with fucking beans. What's up, Sully at the Stabbin' Cabin? All right, what is it called? Canned brown bread. All right, it's called B&M brown bread. Check it out. It's fucking interesting looking. Here, I don't know if you guys can see it. My screen's probably too bright, but see, like you cut it in little slivers like that. Gene, yes, plenty of interesting stuff out of North Carolina. I got folders of every state. So yes, Stargate SGI with soft disclosure. More than likely, Andrew. Anything with Stargate. I was actually just talking about how I believe that the Egyptians and the alien race prior to whatever had Stargates. We know that there was some sort of nuclear holocaust or some sort of war based on nuclear or radioactive rocks and other crazy stuff that's found down there. So yeah, very interesting. No. Blue meanie, I don't know if you need to toast it. I've never eaten it. I don't think I'd want to eat canned bread unless there was a zombie apocalypse. I would probably eat canned bread like a motherfucker. What do you think of the pale crawler are? I honestly, New England dirt bike roadie, I think my own opinion, and I'm no expert. I'm fucking just a guy. I think that Saddam found more than a Stargate. They found a lot when they broke down into his palaces. I think the crawlers are, this is my own opinion, the crawlers are a genetic creation that the Dracos or the Greys created in deep underground bases or now deep underground military bases. But I think that's what they are. They resemble a cross between an alien Grey and a Draco, if you really think about it. That's just my own opinion. English Christmas pudding. I don't know. I know it's bread, but pudding doesn't sound. It's not you. It's solid bread. Have I ever tried boiled peanuts? Yes, I fucking hate them. They are absolutely filthy. I love peanuts, and when we lived in Florida, I was selling pudding is solid. Not in America, pudding isn't solid. Pudding is like smooth. You eat it with a spoon. It's almost like yogurt. English pudding is like cake. Yeah. I don't know. But pudding in America is is creamy. I love tapioca pudding. I don't know why. But anyway, boiled peanuts, quick story. Another like along the lines of chicory. So cuz it happened during the same time pretty much. So I got introduced to chicory, which was the filthiest tasting liquid I've ever tasted. And then I was the internet sales manager at a Dodge dealership when I was younger. And this old guy, wicked nice guy, he was the manager of the store. He had a bag of peanuts, and I'm like, "Hey, can I grab a couple?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." And he's like, "You never had boiled peanuts?" And I had no idea. I'm from upstate New York. Boiled peanuts, what? And I'm like, "Yeah, I love peanuts." So he puts a couple on my desk, and I pop one in to crack it with my teeth, and I'm like, "Oh my god, what the hell is this? Why is it soggy? This doesn't taste like any peanut I've ever tasted." What's going on, Matthew? How are you? Thank you for the wonderful comments as of late, Matthew. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Chili with pickles and peanut. Okay, let's get to an encounter. that one was chili, pickles, and a peanut butter sandwich. Someone's pregnant. Just kidding. Bacon spam. I like spam. I don't mind spam. Spam is good. Tapioca, my favorite, with trace amounts of cyanide. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that, Andrew. I really do. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you're here with us tonight. I really am. Boom, what's up? All right. When I was around 12, my family and I moved out into the middle of some abandoned strip mine in rural Alabama. It was awesome. Going swimming in quarries, lots of abandoned equipment, and cliff faces to climb caves and miles of trails. Abandoned dirt roads used by the mines to explore. The trade-off was there are lots of venomous snakes, and at night it was dark, no streetlights. Just the occasional porch light, maybe every mile or so on the main road. One day in particular, my friend P and I were out on one of the dirt roads that went off to the side of the main mine road. We hadn't been down this road before. It was like 10 a.m. on a bright summer day, and we figured, hey, why not? We had gone maybe a mile down the road and came to a left-hand turn. Beside the left turn and alongside the road we were walking on was a small lake. We walked up to the lake and we were watching small frogs and turtles swim around when I caught movement from across the lake. I saw a man walking away from us, heading up the hill. I poked P and pointed. Who's that? Why is he out here? We're miles into the mines. No people anywhere, no houses nearby. We both stood up, and as soon as we got right on our feet, he stopped walking. In a split second, he spun around and came running in our direction. We bolted. Ran like Gump. I looked back, and he was running faster than any human I'd ever seen. He covered the distance. He had to run downhill and around the lake to get close to us. That route was easily 300 yards. P grabbed me and we jumped off the road into a ditch behind some brush. I peeked out and he was maybe 30 to 40 feet from us, spinning around in the road, making this god-awful grunting sound. And weirdly enough, I swear, he had what looked like a chicken in his hand. He seemed to be wearing some kind of decimated overalls and what used to be boots. He had what I can only describe as a Cro-Magnon brow. Huge. My memory might not be super accurate given how long it's been, but it seemed like his forehead stuck out a good 4 inches over his eyes. He was the scariest thing I'd ever seen. He spun around in the road and started running back the way he had come. We stayed there in that ditch for almost an hour, too afraid to move, listening, watching in case he was hiding and waiting. We crawled along the roadside all the way back to the main road. From there we walked, but stayed in the tree line until we saw a main paved road, and then we ran. We ran all the way back home. Got home, told our dads, and both of our dads and P's older brother loaded up and went looking for him. They never found a thing. All these years later, it still haunts me. My girlfriend recently took me out to her grandmother's house to meet and spend time with her family. And where does dear old Granny live? Right on the edge of that same strip mine. I told her the story and she looked real serious and said, "Y'all are lucky. There's all kinds of bad things that happen in those mines. So yeah, every visit to Grandma's house means the Glock and the 12 gauge ride with us." Anyway, that's my creepy experience. Oh, I forgot about this. Recently, my dad reminded me of something. I had gotten beat up real bad my last day of summer school. So to make me feel better and for passing summer school, my parents bought me a Kawasaki motocross bike. My dad had an old Honda racing bike, so we tried to ride out there any chance we got. One day we were out deep in the mines, and I saw this wooden crate box off the road in the brush. Looked about 6 feet long, maybe 18 inches high. Me, being a nosy kid, walked over and looked inside. There was a ton of hay, a blanket, an old pillow. I called Dad over and showed him. I remember he looked around and said, "If someone's living that way out here, they don't want to be found or bothered. Let's get out of here." We hopped on our bikes and rode home, no problems at all. But the weird thing is, my dad sat out on the porch with the light off most of the night, just staring at the edge of the woods. Never said why, and I cannot believe I never put two and two together, but now I think I know. Apparently, he never saw anything or anyone because he came in late at night and went to bed and never sat out there again. Tarot Junkie, thank you for becoming a member. What's up, Donna Harmon? How are you? Charlie Knight, what up, baby? I don't know if I said hi to Freddie Fuck Ups, but hi, how are you? What's up, Patrice? How are you? It's not the Jew horn, it's the Hebrew horn. Hebrew horn. We gotta sound proper. Not politically correct, just proper. $20 is $20. There you go, DB Mac. $30 rack. Oh, Jesus, it's starting to stink now. What's up, 5 rings? I got it out. I got it out today, actually, buddy. Ricardo. MJ, I apologize. I don't control YouTube. And once again, I don't control the ads, so I apologize for that. So when you say damn ads, you're literally talking to the choir. I can't control it. I wish I could. I can see your comments, Stacy Brooks. How are you? What's a portal? It's where like it's a crossover from dimension to dimension. Fuck, that stinks. Motherfucker. I gotta light a candle. Hang on a second. Oh, wait. I got incense matches. Sweet. You ever seen these? These incense matches? Oh, that smells good. There we go. It smells like a dirty hippie died in my room now. Jim Baker is here, Bull Moose. Jim Baker is here. Yeah, they do work good, don't they, brother? Not on live streams, Shadow Nasty. What is spam made of? Probably the same thing hot dogs are, lips and asshole. You know what, Freddie fuck ups. I never was in prison, brother. Jail one night for a fucking driving infraction because I refused to go to court. I skipped court like 6 times because, well, I said, I am a solid, what are they? Those citizens that don't have to do anything. Roberta, how are you? Paul Carey Robinson. No, I haven't. I don't see how somebody could be part bloodline of a Nephilim. I don't that really doesn't I don't know. It just doesn't seem feasible to me. I think that if you have Nephilim bloodline in you, you're not even constituted as a human. No, I agree. I agree. Absolutely. There's a lot that I don't agree with, but that's my own opinion. It comes from Mesopotamia. Yeah, that explains it. I mean, I've heard of like actually I did talk about something the other day about that where there is and I'm sorry, you're right. There's a tribe in Africa, a couple different tribes that they possibly may believe that there is some bloodline to the Nephilim or giant because they're so big. But then some some other scientists came in and said, well, if that were the case, wouldn't they be stockier and not as skinny and this and that? But yeah, I did talk a little bit about that. I forgot all about that. Did Nephilim look like clowns? No. Maybe, I don't know. I wasn't alive during the Nephilim era. So, Danny Marie, thank you so much. Thank you. Boom. Why would you be surprised? Think about the Native Americans, the Hopi, and the other natives that live in caves high up. There was a reason why. Spiritual awakening. Good question. Good question. I heard from a guy that I talked to. Once again, I'm not an expert. Like with Paul Carey bringing that up, I'm not an expert. I just learned something from him that I forgot. So I was talking to a guy that was he believes that, and this is his belief, not mine, that Dogman with Donna Harmon, thank you. Dogman with yellow eyes and Dogman with red eyes. He said possibly because of, once again, Nephilim related and souls and demons and such, that some dogmen may be possessed and some might not be. Just like there's been red-eyed Bigfoot and yellow-eyed Bigfoot. Just his own, and this was a guy that this I talked to this guy. He was the one that taught Kumbo about the shofar. Very interesting guy. It was interesting to have the conversation. It made a little sense, but yeah, exactly. 59th. That's it. Did it made a lot of sense, but it was like, all right, if they have red eyes, and then, but then you got to think like, there's like, and I brought this up. I said, well, in encounters that I've heard with yellow-eyed dogmen, it seems like they're less apt to scare people. They're more or less just seen. And the ones with the red eyes are the ones that seem to stalk. I have to actually contact him. He was gonna. I almost had him convinced to come on the show, but he works with South Carolina State Police in their computer crime division. So he kind of wanted to, not necessarily, Stacy. Not necessarily. Was your encounter, Jeff, red? Mine was white. What I saw was bright white colored eyes. It might have been yellow, but it was 1994. And Jeanette, if I didn't answer you back, it means I didn't get it. For some reason, Google, and I check my spam too. For some reason, I don't get emails sometimes, and I do. It's weird. And if I do get it, I'll say, hey, got your email. We'll contact you shortly, or thank you for sending it to me. So if you could send it again, please, I'd appreciate that. Paul Carey Robinson. There's a guy that I had on my channel. His name is Paul Pedersen Jr. He has researched the Jersey Devil for a bunch of years. I think I have his book right here. Yep. I have his book right here. It's called Legendary Pine Barrens, New Tales from Old Haunts by Paul Evans Pedersen Jr. We were talking. I met him through another big YouTube channel, Sam and Kobe. But Paul, wicked nice guy. I interviewed him on my channel, and he and I got talking, and he was like, I think there might be two different kinds of creatures, obviously more than two, but he said he had never heard of Dogman. And when he had started listening to the channel, he said, holy shit, there are people that say they've seen the Jersey Devil, but it didn't have wings. It didn't look like what the atypical Jersey Devil looked like. But it jumped very high. It was very aggressive. And he's like, I think there's a lot of misidentification sometimes in the Pine Barrens of Jersey Devil with Dogman. It was pretty neat. Bobby, I got your message. There's no error. What's up, Diane? How are you? Jersey Nightcat, how are you? You're in the Pine Barrens, Jersey? That's awesome. I imagine there could be, a Dogman that swings that way. My cat, I think Tigger's gay. Like, he looks at me kind of funny. Like, funny. I had that encounter, Bull Moose. I did it on my channel, actually. I had the guy, 100% Jersey. I had a guy that he was from Tennessee and came on the channel. 6, Janie. Rockin' steady. What's going on? How are you? Tigger kind of sits a little bit. No, I'm not getting him. He'll come in when he wants to. Andrew, he weighs like 42 pounds. He's a big boy. But he looks at me like he wants to get busy. I'm like, we're not fucking, get away from me, dude. Fucking weirdo. I was asked to fix my mom's car, went to deliver with the music pastor. We didn't know the girl had the home pastor asked me to come pray as soon as we did. He does. He wants that $20. Bad. Has anyone seen Aramik tonight? I haven't seen him yet either. I got an encounter for him when he comes on. Actually, I got two right here. I do have. Ooh, this one's good. This one's very good. All right. Papa Bear, how are you? All right. I swear I'm not making this up. I love when they start out with that. I swear I'm not making this up. Just like, tell us. Don't. When I lived in Texas, it was a stormy night. Like any unusual strong storm, plenty of lightning and thunder. I had a friend over. I remember playing Morrowind and OG Halo until super late. I was lying awake, staring out the window and listening to the rain. We had called it a night about an hour before this. There was a tree outside of my window with a branch I would sometimes use to get in and out of my room. For privacy reasons, and because of my parents were nosy. In between some thunder, I saw something on the branch outside, a pair of eyes, large and yellow. They just appeared right where I was already staring. In a single instant, just there, a flash of light from the storm lit up the tree. It looked like Gollum from Lord of the Rings or something, gangly and gray with sharp teeth, long fingers that were holding something that was moving. The creature wasn't moving, but what it was holding was moving, and it didn't make a sound. Whatever it was, it looked like it was eating something. Then it looked right at me and smiled. A far too human smile. It screamed bloody murder and woke up the whole damn house. Everyone told me to stop lying about this. You had too much caffeine before bed. Me and my friend did down 2 12-packs of soda between us. You were asleep and you had a nightmare. I have no idea if I was seeing things or if it was a trick of the lightning or anything else it could have been. But I know I was awake. It was during the summertime, and I had been staying awake until sun up for over 2 weeks at that point. When I told my friend, he was skeptical, but he took my word for it. Our house was surrounded by 20 acres of woods, and we had both heard some strange stuff in those woods. When day broke and the storm let up, we went outside near my window. On the ground, right under the branch, was a half-eaten field mouse. It was 17 years ago, 2004, and I still sometimes have nightmares about this thing. When I think about what's in the dark, I remember Gollum, because that's what I've called it ever since. Maggie Mayhem, how are you? I think I missed saying hi to you. Hey, Charlotte, how are you? What's up, Rafe? Cats and dogs do have us trained. You're absolutely correct. I got a black-eyed kid encounter for you guys tonight. No, 3 cat mom. Tigger's nuts are like, each one is like that big. He's got little bouncy ball sack. And he's never sprayed. He's never sprayed in my house. He's a good boy. Fire horse. What's up, KC Smith? How are you? Welcome to the chat. Norman Comics, how are you? Yes, Tigger has murder mittens. Oh. All right, let's start this black-eyed kids encounter. Rix, what's going on? How are you? Rixie Rupper? Maybe 6 months ago, I was visiting a family in South Texas who lived in a decently sized RV park in the rundown side of town. It was maybe 10 p.m. or so at the time, and the dog had to go out. My dog only does his business at the end of the street in a buddy of mine's lawn and has issues passing due to a tumor in his back end. So I always stop at the end of the street and kind of watch the stars and stuff. I looked down the street near the entrance of the park, and under this lonesome streetlight, I saw a silhouette of a child, maybe 9 or 12 years old, standing there, almost in a T pose, but not quite. The odd thing I noticed was the hands, which were open enough where it was crab like in the sense that you could see the thumb and fingers had zero movement. I was puzzled trying to find out how this figure was so dark under the streetlight, though it was literally like seeing someone just enough to make out the outline in the darkness. Zero light was reflecting on this kid, just utter darkness. The only thing I could think of was that someone was pulling a random prank and actually put a cutout or a mannequin in the middle of the road. But again, I was confused how it remained so pitch black directly under a light source. I didn't walk up to it because of two reasons. One, being my dog is still straining, trying to go and do his business. And two, I have a keen sense of picking up on negative energy. It was the same vibe I felt in the haunted house I grew up in, where I also had several spiritual Jersey Nightcat. Thank you so much, dear. Where I also had several spiritual encounters. I sat there staring for more than a few minutes, just focusing on the fine points of this silhouette, looking for the slightest flinch of movement, but I never saw one. It was at this time I figured I'd pull out my phone and try to zoom in on this figure, but oddly enough, my screen in camera mode was pitch black, so I couldn't make out anything. When I zoomed up to where I surely thought the figure was, I saw nothing but the streetlight through the lens. A couple actually began walking behind this kid around this time, and I noticed they didn't even glance or acknowledge the kid standing maybe 6 feet or less from them when they walked by. What was super weird was as they passed under that same streetlight, you could make out everything from facial expressions down to what clothes they were wearing, but the kid remained solid black. They were walking their dog, and even their dog didn't seem to notice this odd reflecting upon this now. This oddity reflecting upon this now. I gave up and glanced down, put my phone in my pocket, and when I looked up, the figure was gone. It just vanished in the second or two of looking away. At this point, I was getting really confused and just wanted to go home. Creepy factor was through the roof. I turned around and began to walk back when all of a sudden, the kid figure was running at a fast pace coming up behind me. Startled, but trying to keep my composure, I quickly turned around and saw this gray blur zoom past. The thing that struck out the most was this very gray skin, and what I saw, I swear, was black eyes from just a slight bit of eye contact we had. Then, right as the kid is passing me, he says, "Ha, I scared you." And the dude was gone just like that. Poof. By the time I had gotten home, I began researching what this area has as far as legends go and stumbled across black-eyed kids. I became totally convinced that what I had seen was a black-eyed kid. Alan Rogers, how are you? Simone, how are you tonight? MJ Bates, good evening. Made it. Just flew in from Arizona. What is Andy Davis bouncing? Good night, Mr. Andy Davis. Thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you here. Always a pleasure. Storm Zombie, I'm glad that you're home and with us. Yes, Andy Davis, stay frosty and don't let your meat loaf. I haven't seen any UFOs as of late, but I haven't really been outside as of late at night. I gotta get. Thank you, MJ. Leon, what's going on? Once again, MJ, thank you so much. I gotta get outside, and actually, what is today? The 2nd. We have 13 days till Tom Mezek disappeared, and we are nine years in. 9 years in. Holy shit! Next year will be 10 years when Tom Mezek disappeared. Yeah, it does. It's weird because my daughter's birthday is November 15th, Isabel's. And I remember November 15th, what we were doing. It was a beautiful day in upstate New York. And you don't think about things like that. And then I remember a day or two after hearing about how there was a missing hunter in Brant Lake. And then a couple years go by and I became completely obsessed with his case. Peter, well, happy birthday early to you. Thank you, Blue Days. Appreciate that. I got to get back up there. I'm going to go. I got to try. It's like, I don't know if anybody heard my upload I did a couple days ago, but just been having some stressful moments with kids. Growing up is like so hard, and being dad and mom is fucking even harder. So Canine Perez, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Victor's dead, my friend. Nine Perez. Victor died about 11 months ago now, unfortunately. A lot of people are born in November. It's because it's cold in February and a lot of fucking goes on. And then a bunch of kids pop out in November. Right, Jim Baker? I have hit my jewel backwards. I have. No, it died, though. It died, Storm in Alaska. Yeah. I think he shared too much. Here's my thing on why and what I think about the whole thing with Victor. I'll never know 100% truthfully why he died, but so a while ago he had come back, and I think he shared way too much that he was supposed to. He was told what to share. He and I became friends, and then we started doing the call-ins, and he fucking loved those because he loved you guys. And I remember having conversations about the live call-ins, and I think that he just at one point, and he said it, he said, fuck it, like, I'm close to retirement. I don't care anymore. What are they going to do? Kill me? And I think he thought he was unstoppable. and he just kept sharing more and more info. And then the book, and then everything after that, he was doing great. At one point, we had plans to do an interview. 2 days later, he's in the hospital with kidney failure, in a coma. I talked to his son about this. And weirdly enough, there were 2 Marines standing outside of his hospital thing in Virginia. And then he got out of his coma. He was doing dialysis. He came on once during that. And then the last phone conversation he and I ever had, he was in the hospital and there was a nurse present. And I remember the nurse asking him if he needed a drink for his medication. And he said, "No, I've got enough water. Thank you." And I heard like the hospital noise, but she was still in the room. And he started talking about Dogman. And then a month goes by and I didn't hear anything. And then I contacted his son. And I was told that he died. So I think he was poisoned because he shared too much information he wasn't supposed to share. I think if he just stuck to what he was supposed to share when they allotted him to, I think he'd still be alive. Yeah. Yeah, very true, DB Mac. Very true. His son found it odd, but yeah, very true. I agree. Poison would Rafe, I finished his book when I put it, I went through my publisher and it was gonna be, I had 2 chapters that I'd put in there that I took from shit that he had sent me. I have a file, like a file this big of everything that we ever talked about. Every email I printed out, everything I printed out just so I could have it because I felt like something was going to happen to him. And I was told that to take the 2 chapters out, change the outro and a little bit of the forward, and it'd be okay to put out. And then I was told not to talk about it. And I didn't. I did change the forward a little, the outro, and I took the 2 chapters out. And I don't know. I haven't heard anything, and I'm not going to say anything about it. When it comes out, it will. When it does, hopefully it fucking stays. You know, I don't know. Jeanette, I just said that it's not out. It'll be out when I have permission to put it out. Yeah. Victor was a government employed hunter. Yes, black pilled. When it comes out, I will let people know. I'm not gonna make any mention of it because I don't know if that had anything to do with it, because when Victor said my book's coming out at a certain date, right around that time is when he got sick. And it was really fucking weird. Everything was weird about that whole thing. But like, this is the file of Victor. This is everything. This is every email Victor ever sent me. This is every conversation we ever had. This is all the Q&As that we did. I literally saved everything. I knew something bad was going to happen, and I was like, I'm fucking printing all this out. You're right, Andrew. I am not. I am not. I have it backed up. I do. Navy, Paul. Yes. He was in Vietnam. He was part of the Brown Water Navy. And then was a couple of years of naval intelligence until he finished out his retirement. He met Milton William Cooper once. He said he didn't like him, my dad. I was like, why didn't you like him? I'm like, he's fucking awesome. He's like, I'm like, all right. My dad doesn't like people though, so he probably was awesome, and my dad just didn't like him. Claudia Ackley was an amazing woman. Claudia Ackley was one of my great friends. I fucking love her. I still have her phone number in my phone, still to this day. Serbia is in the house. What's up, Vlad? Vlad. This is a second-hand experience that my friend had. In 1990, MP moved into a semi-detached back-split house. She was 20 at the time and living on her own. A week after moving in, she began experiencing night terrors. In her dreams, she would see people being killed in various ways, disembodiment, decapitation, etc. Some months later, she woke up to see a dark shadow standing in her closet, moving to the foot of her bed. At the foot of her bed, she could see what she only described as the Grim Reaper, a dark robe and a skeletal face, standing there. She also saw it sitting on the bed and a small gargoyle like creature. It had alligator like skin. It kept looking over at this Grim Reaper creature as if waiting for a command to attack. She initially thought it was a nightmare, but it happened night after night. She would wake up to them standing there, and then after some time, they would just fade out. She began to find bruises and unexplained scratches on her body. She started sleeping on the sofa, clutching a Bible. Eventually, she moved out, and the experiences stopped for a while. In 2018, she was living in a new house with her teenage son. She had not seen the Grim Reaper creature in 28 years after she had moved from the previous house, but she never forgot about it. She often spoke of the entity and his companion to her son. In the winter of 2018, she went on a retreat or vacation. She had returned home. Something very strange began to play out. She started to feel horribly ill and depressed. She experienced insomnia and felt restlessness. She woke up one day to the sound of a voice, but nothing was there. The voice was ominous. A few days later, while walking down the hallway to her bedroom, as she approached the doorway, she looked and saw standing at the end of her bed the Grim Reaper creature. The same one she had seen 20 years ago. He was exactly as she remembered. She screamed in horror. Her son ran upstairs to check on her. He saw it as well, standing in the bedroom. He stopped dead in his tracks, staring in shock. The thing is real. Terrified, her son began yelling at it to leave, and it did. It appeared to vanish from the room. They looked outside, and now it was standing on the lawn, looking up at them, almost as if it had teleported out of the room and to the outside in a blink of an eye. A psychic medium was soon brought in to clear the house. During the investigation, the three and another investigator opened the bedroom door and heard the words evil, hell, and blood, though nobody was in the room. The psychic sensed it was evil, it was the evil entity, and she proceeded to conduct a crossing over ceremony. She managed to exorcise the demon. I have exorcised the demons. Things returned to normal, and M got over her illness. Rockin', have a good night, my friend. Yeah, I did an upload about it, We the People. It was a straight up homicide. I talked about it. I'm not gonna go into any more further. It's kind of disrespectful to the family to even speculate that it was anything other than. Thank you, Alan Howell. I appreciate the love, my friend. Because it tastes like sheet. Yeah, like here's my interpretation of it is the guy was attacked by some fucking crazy guy with a hatchet. His friend his friend saw a bunch of blood, and obviously being in bear country thought it was a bear attack. Called 911 and said my friend was attacked by a bear. The police get there, and they immediately, judging from the 911 call and all the blood and everything else, make the unfortunate blunder by saying it was a bear attack. But when they get him to the ME's office, he was attacked by a hatchet of some sort. And just a very disgusting crime, like Dogmen and Bigfoot and crawlers are scary, but humans are just as fucking scary in the woods, You've got to be leery of everything nowadays. Yeah. Yeah, Tyler. He was in his tent. Yes. Humans and chuds are my top of the creepy. Yeah, humans are fucking creepy. There was that lady that Joe Rogan had a couple of days ago, and she'd lived in like this like off the grid kind of community, and she said that the most terrified she ever was in the woods was when there was unknown people lurking around in her woods. And we are fucking monsters if you really think about it. Like, I mean, because we have social environments and stuff, we think we're better than, but there's those fucking crazy people that do some banana shit. All right. This one goes out to Aramic in hopes that he comes. Aramic, if you hear this, on July 3rd, 2018, in Cicero, Illinois, my family and I were coming home from a fireworks show in Riverside. This occurred in the residential area in the vicinity of West Ogden Ave and South Austin Boulevard. We were getting out of the car 2 houses down from ours, making our way to the front of our yard. We had a really large tree in front of our house. My wife and my youngest daughter were still in our car. My middle and oldest were with me under the tree. The whole tree started to shake. My 2 daughters and I were right under this tree. I said, "What the hell?" And my 2 daughters stopped and looked at me and said, "What is that?" I looked up right away to make sure nothing was going to fall on me. As I looked up, whatever it was jumped out of the tree and flew between my home and the neighbors. It was clear in a bright sky. I don't remember if it was a full moon, but the sky was not dark, dark. What I saw looked like the pictures of the Mothman. My 2 daughters saw it as well, and they moved towards me and said, "Dad, did you see that?" I took out my pocket knife and told my wife and daughters to come get inside now. My oldest and middle daughters saw it as well. My youngest and wife said they saw it from the car. 2 weeks later, we saw that large branch on the tree was dead and it had fallen on its own. The tree just kept losing branches until we had to cut it down some 2 days ago. Before this incident, the tree was healthy and really thick leaves on it. Is it lot lizard story time? I think it's lot lizard story. Is it time for a lot lizard? Lot lizard? Anyone? All right. It is lot lizard time. This is the only fictional story we will share on this channel tonight. It is the one lot lizard story I have. Somewhere off the dusty highway between 2 miles of yawning nothingness and the ever-looming silhouette of a truck stop lie the Shadow Grove Rest Area, a haven for weary travelers and weary truckers. Its single flickering light bulb outside of the bathroom did little to ease the ambiance of disquiet. In fact, the light swayed like it was hiding something. At night, the truck stop became a circus of strange characters, but the most notorious of them all was Larry, the lot lizard. Legend had it he was a lot lizard, a truck stop prostitute so mysterious and outlandish that nobody was quite sure if he was human or not. Some called him a cryptid, others just called him Larry. He had the uncanny ability to appear and disappear amidst the shadows, often leaving truckers with both a sense of dread and an inexplicable chuckle. Larry wasn't the typical lot lizard. He occasionally wore a shiny green jumpsuit that reminded everyone of a reptilian superhero, scales and all. Those who spotted him reported that he would pop up near the rigs, perched on the hood of their truck, flashing a toothy grin that showed off some very sharp teeth. Larry's eyes glimmered in the dark as if they were a reflection of the headlights, throwing off a sense of terror that was both captivating and ridiculous. If you were lucky or unlucky enough to encounter Larry, you'd instantly be bombarded with dubious sales pitches. Hi there. Ever thought about scalar experience? Only the finest adventures wait for you. He beamed, his voice comically high-pitched compared to his imposing presence. One stormy night, a rookie trucker named Bob rolled into Shadow Grove after a long day on the road. He parked his rig alongside the others in the lot and made his way inside to grab a cup of lukewarm coffee. As he sipped, he overheard a couple of seasoned drivers sharing tales about Larry the lot lizard. I swear that dude hopped up onto my truck while I was taking a leak. He offered me a date, tongue flicking like he was trying to catch flies, one driver laughed, equally amused and horrified. Bob chuckled along nervously, trying to dismiss the absurdity of this folklore. But later, when he stepped out to stretch his legs, he got that familiar creeping sensation like something was lurking in the dark. Hey, you! A raspy voice echoed in the night. Bob whipped around, nearly spilling his coffee. There, illuminated by the fading light, was Larry, leaning with an oddly seductive pose against his rig. I think you've had a long drive. How about some sizzling roadside fun? Larry offered, his grin even wider than before. Bob blinked, half in disbelief and half in sheer terror. I think I'm fine, he stammered. Oh, come on, Larry beckoned, his eyes narrowing playfully. You won't find a deal like this anywhere else. I can guarantee you scales of fun. Or I could slither away if you'd prefer. What's it going to be, bud? Unsure if he should run or laugh, Bob decided to engage. Okay, if you're so charming, how do you measure fun? Larry perked up at the question, launching into a surprisingly detailed my fucking brain just stopped. Launching surprisingly into a detail about his travels, recounting the bizarre escapades of the truck stop guests. He even claimed to have once outran a pack of feral raccoon in the parking lot, all the while trying to sell his unique cryptid services to a group of baffled mechanics. Bob found himself caught between a laugh and horror. Something about Larry was just absurdly entertaining. But Larry saw Bob's growing interest and leaned closer. But, buddy, I promise you'll have a scalar time with me. My specialties include terrible life advice, terrible jokes, and if you're lucky, a little bit of tongue punch in action. Lizard dance moves? Bob couldn't help but chuckle now, a little warmth spreading through his trousers. Isn't that a little cliche? At that, Larry threw back his head and erupted in laughter. His laughter echoed through the lot, drowning out the howling wind. The mix of ridiculousness and fear transformed into genuine camaraderie, and suddenly Bob didn't feel so alone at the stop. I'm dead serious. You want to see? Larry grinned, tilting his head to a mischievous glee. Sure enough, what followed was a performance that was part of a dance, part slapstick comedy. Larry twirled and kicked and flicked, all the while comically engaging lizard like motions, ultimately in a grand finale where he pretended to shed his skin, suddenly grabbing a discarded truck tire and flinging it into the nearby bushes. They both burst into an uncontrollable laughter, startling a few unsuspecting truckers who peeked out at the bizarre scene unfolding before them. Bob couldn't remember the last time he had laughed so hard. And for a fleeting moment, Larry transitioned from a terrifying cryptid lot lizard into an absurd, larger than life friend. Well, Bob, this has been a memorable trip or what? Larry said with a wink and a laugh. Definitely memorable, Bob admitted. With a final wave, Larry sauntered back into the shadows, perhaps waiting for the next unsuspecting trucker to pass through. Bob returned to his rig with a warmer heart and just a little bump in his trousers, knowing he would never forget the night he met Larry the Lot Lizard, the funny, scary truck stop cryptid who brought just enough fun and laughter to the shadowy places. And as the night settled back into the eerie silence, one thing remained clear. The legend of Larry the Lot Lizard would live on, forever echoing in the tales of the truckers, a blend of horror, humor, and outright weirdness, with a touch of seduction at a quiet truck stop. Fucking Larry. Larry the Lot Lizard. What's up, Randall Kennedy? How are you, buddy? I feel better now. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Bobby Schultz. Appreciate that. What's up, Lunatic French? I did say hi to you already. That's right. Sorry, Lunatic. Hey, Christy. Christy. Sorry. Christy Strom, how are you? I had to do a male lot lizard story tonight. I just felt it like the tongue punching action. I literally was laughing my ass off at that though. I was like, tongue punching action. No, there's no cop out there. It was so weird. Like literally 10 minutes before I started the live, he was gone. Mer. Paul, yes. Roberta, yes. Liza, Lola, Larry. I got great names for the old lot lizards. All right. Where's Pups tonight? Has anyone seen Pups tonight? Yes, Boom. I've had 2 or 3 different angel encounters. Leon, I will put my email in 1 second. I haven't seen Pups tonight at all. All right. I got a Dogman encounter. And then let me put my email in for Leon real quick. All right. My email is right under 59th and right above 59th. If you missed it, you got it with 59th. We hit you and we got you both. I hitchhiked across Canada over a 1-year period of time. Dude, I bet you, Alan Rogers, that would be a cool trip. I remember hitchhiking. I hitchhiked from Maine. So my family has a house in Mount Desert Island, which is Bar Harbor. Like Bar Harbor's in the front part of the island. We have a house in the back side of the island. So instead of taking a bus back home, because every summer I'd go there and work. So instead of taking a bus, I decided to hitchhike. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to save some money. So I literally went across the state of Maine, into New Hampshire, into Vermont, down Vermont, into New York. And do you guys remember? The older people will remember this. And I'm not saying older, like 48, 50. Remember 30 years ago when the nanny from England was found dismembered in a garbage bin in Boston, Mass? Does anybody remember that? Well, this nanny had been dismembered she was found in a garbage bin and she was from England. So I get picked up at the top of Vermont. I had just crossed into New Hampshire, from New Hampshire to Vermont. I'm like literally at the Canadian border. I could see the Canadian border from where I was. And I got picked up by these two big guys, like big, from Boston. And they were construction workers. So I want to ride. I get in, and they get me in the middle. They put me in the middle of in between them. So I'm like this, right? And we're driving. They're talking to me, asking me questions, this and that. And I had gotten like one or two rides. Mainly I was walking, so I was happy that I had gotten picked up. And we get to this isolated part of the highway in Vermont, and we're going south. And they were like, "What should we do with this guy?" And I'm like, "Oh my God." Mind you, I'm 17. I'm like, "What the fuck are they talking about?" In my head, like, are they going to kill me? And they're like, they literally brought up the girl that had got dismembered in Boston. And I'm like, holy fuck. Because it was said to be like workers or construction workers that did it. There was a bunch of speculation. I have two knives that were like, I have them tucked like back here, right? So I'm trying to reach for them, but I can't because they're so fucking big that they got me like this. Literally, I'm shitting my pants. And I'm like, I just said, I go, listen, I don't want you guys to kill me, but if you guys are going to kill me, you're going to have to fight me outside of the truck. And they fucking started laughing. And like, at like minutes after that, they're like, we're fucking with you, kid. Don't worry about it. We're not going to fucking kill you. We're fucking with you. We swear to God. They bring me to Brattleboro, Vermont, and they get out of the truck. They buy me dinner at this diner. And, I didn't tell them that I had money with me because I didn't know who they were. I wasn't going to say, yeah, I got like $1,000 in my fucking backpack. So they're like, are you going to be okay here? We've got to get off this exit here. We can't go any further. You're pretty close to New York now. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be good. I had about a 2 to 3 hour walk ahead of me. And one of the guys reaches in his wallet and pulls out a $50 bill. And he goes to hand it to me. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm like, thank you for dinner. I'm like, I am good. I've got money of my own. I just didn't say anything because I didn't know who you guys were and I didn't want to get robbed. And he's like, listen, just take the money. Be safe tonight. And he handed me a pocket knife too. And I'm like, no, I got these blades. He goes, take the fucking knife, kid. He goes, and if anybody fucks with you, he goes, get him in the legs. And then they got in their truck and drove away. I was like, dude, that's so awesome. That's awesome, Andrew. Last year was my parents' 55th wedding anniversary, and my dad was in the hospital, but he's doing better now. So it was like perfect. What's up, Sonny? Ass grass. Dave. All right. Here's a Dogman experience for y'all. Have you ever made your way out to Arizona? No, I have not. My daughter's 17, my youngest. She's going to be 17 on the 15th. And when she turns 18 is when I can start leaving, I don't want to take her out on trips with me and such. So all right, here we go. I was walking down the road one dark, cloudy morning on my way to work when I just happened to turn and look around behind me. On the other side of the road, I saw a huge, strange looking dog. It was completely devoid of hair and was unlike any other breed that I had ever seen before. Luckily, it hadn't noticed my presence. As I was standing on the other side of the street halfway down the road, I quickly walked off at speed, as I really didn't fancy being a cryptid chew toy for this unusually large looking canine. I found it rather odd that this dog was roaming around the neighborhood alone like that, especially at this time of the morning. When I got further down the road, I looked back to make sure that it was not following me, and I barely breathed a sigh of relief because there was no sign of it, so I continued to walk. As I rounded the corner to Jetty Marsh Road, I was completely shocked to see the same creature a bit further down the road straight ahead of me, and I immediately stopped dead in my tracks. I was really confused of how this unusually looking canine had managed to get ahead of me like it had. The dog turned its head and looked straight at me, and I could now see that it had glowing red eyes. It then menacingly growled, and I thought, oh shit. It was really a terrifying sight of this rabid looking beast, and I slowly began to back up while keeping my eyes completely transfixed upon it. Suddenly, the dog began slowly to dissolve before it just turned into a large puff of smoke. I stood there with my mouth agape. What on earth had I just witnessed? I was left scratching my head, trying to understand what I had just seen. I then cautiously carried on walking toward the area where it had been present only moments before. When I hesitantly got up to the exact spot, I saw clawed paw prints in the dirt, which gave me an icy cold shiver which ran directly down my spine. My attention was then immediately drawn towards a small tree that had begun to shake violently back and forth, as though something invisible was shaking it with real force in order to try and scare me away from the area. Well, needless to say, it had succeeded in doing so. I instantly ran off down the road as fast as I could, and I just kept running until I had safely reached my place of work all the way to King Station. I don't normally get scared that easy, but this particular morning was terrifying. I stopped walking into work a while after this and would instead only take a taxi or get a lift to work. Years on after this event, I am still not entirely sure exactly what I had witnessed that one morning, but I know one thing is for sure. I never want to experience anything quite like it again. This strange event took place one cold winter's morning at Newton Abbot, Devonshire, England. I certainly do. If it even made the news. So you heard it too, Alan. That's crazy. What's up, James? James Simmons, how are you? Thanks for joining us. I had my own experience, Patricia, in 1994. I've been researching cryptids in that sense. I've been diehard since. Sent you my number. All right, Leon. Sounds good. Aramic. I did a Mothman encounter hoping to summon you. This experience goes out to my dear friend and the most believing man I know. Like, Aramic absolutely loves the Mothman. He has gone to war with people that state the Mothman doesn't exist. I've seen him RKO a person before because they said Mothman does not exist. And Aramic, this one's for you, my friend. I spoke to my friend about a winged creature he and two of his friends had seen around 6 years ago. They all reside in Brawley, California, which is located 25 minutes from the US Mexican border. He mentioned that when he saw it, it was about midnight in late December after Christmas. He said that initially he had looked up and seen what he first thought to be a bird flying over a certain area in a zigzag pattern. He mentioned it to his friends, and at first they didn't see it. But as he kept looking at it, he noticed that it was not a bird, but man like with wings. He explained to them what he was describing, and as usual, they started to say he was seeing things. It was sometime after this point that he noticed that it had now stopped in midair and began to look back at him. I asked him if he could describe it. He said that it had big red eyes and was tall, possibly 6'5", but wasn't exact on the height. It was just big, he said, and it had skin that reminded him of a barn owl. I asked if it was covered in feathers, and he said no. I'm assuming he meant the color was probably khaki colored. Also, that he could see the wings were spread out, and he could see details of veins like a bat. The face to him seemed burnt, but not just that it gave that impression, almost like Freddy Krueger. What also caused him concern was that as it hovered in midair, the wings were still. It's at this point he grabs one of his friends and points it out to him to look. And what he's looking at, upon seeing it, his friend yelled to shoot it. That's when the other friend turned and also saw it and began yelling, shoot it too. Seems that he was the only one that was armed. He replied that he was not going to open fire since it was not a threat to them. Also, he was afraid that whatever it was, if he fired at it and the shots didn't hit it, he figured it may attack them. He does say that while he was focused on its face and wings, that his other friends said that it had claw-like hands. He cannot recall exactly what he was doing, as he just said we stood there, maybe out of fear, but he was transfixed. This experience lasted maybe 7 minutes. The creature made no noise of any type. He said that's when the people inside the house started coming out due to the yelling the three were doing. The creature shot up and away into the dark behind some trees. No one else saw it that night or since, with one exception 2 months later. A woman friend of theirs made mention that she had returned back from the Red Earth Casino late at night, that she too saw a flying creature with red eyes above her car. But from what was said, this creature would dive down onto her car in an aggressive manner. She was the only one in the car. Now, I am familiar with Brawley. It is a small town in the middle of nowhere. It is surrounded by farms and open land. At night, it becomes very dark with dim streetlights. In regards to the casino, I've seen it at least times driving by the border. Its location is even much more desolate than Brawley. The roads leading to it and from are 2-lane roads in each direction. Leaving that location of Brawley, especially at night, is a long, lonely, dark, desolate road. Libra, how are you, Libra? What's up, Brian Mons? How are you? Oh. You can send me an email, Paul. Alan Howell, thank you so much. Rollins, it wasn't that I didn't like mods. It was I am doing well, Libra. Thank you. It was I didn't know how everything worked really at the time. So I was just like, I didn't want to have a mod be like mean to somebody. Obviously, Paul, you might be new here then. I don't think you are. So um you should know that I don't. If I live up to my word. I'm not, you know. You don't even have to contact me actually asking that question. So yeah, I don't want you to think that I would. So I'm not going to say anymore. But no, I don't. I actually held on to an experience for 3 years. Yeah, that's why I said I know you're not. I held on to a experience for 3 years from Terry, Jody's brother, and didn't share it. So, Papa Bear, if you just sent it me today, no. What's up, Eric Kraus? I'll only share what you want me to share. So, October 8th, 2021, Oak Ridge, Tennessee. So, I'm going to start off by saying that this is a secondhand account. I'm actually really pissed off that I missed this, but that can't be helped. So, a couple hours back, my girlfriend left to go and pick up some food. She came back about 20 minutes later. She was like, I just saw a monster in the park. At first, I didn't believe her. But after a bit of questioning, she was serious. So we immediately got into the car. She put the food in the oven first so it wouldn't get cold and drove over there. There was nothing, of course. I was actually hoping there'd be a Halloween decoration or something, but no. We circled the park, and then I had her park across the street so I could go and look at the spot she saw it at. Nothing. I don't even know what I was thinking I'd find, but I still wanted to look around. Again, nothing. It was grass, so not like there'd be footprints anyway. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But I'll describe what she described to me. She said she was driving and she saw someone kind of hiding behind a tree, but poorly, like obviously sticking out from the angle. But looking at it, she decided that it was not actually a person, just person shaped. She described it as being pale white. That's what drew her attention. She said it wasn't the color she'd expect to see. And she said that it had glowing red eyes. I asked her if she meant reflective like a cat or actually glowing. She said no, glowing, and described its fingers as pointy. She said that it looked like it was watching the cars pass by on the street. It was kind of hunched over, so she couldn't be sure how tall it was. But she guessed around her height, 5'11". While in that position, probably taller and fully upright. She was driving past, so she said she only saw it for a few seconds. Based on what she saw, there were no trees, maybe 4 feet apart, and they were maybe 30 feet from the road. I'm not great at math or measurements, so those numbers could be off, and I don't know if it's relevant or not, but we're in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And yeah, that's it. I'd call myself a very amateur paranormal nerd. I like to watch YouTube videos. I'm not claiming to be anything that close to an expert. I have no idea what she saw, but that is my girlfriend's experience. Thanks for letting me share. All right, guys, I have got to go. I really don't feel good. I just got a wave that I feel like I'm going to hurl. Um, Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I really feel like I'm going to get sick. I'm sorry. I'll see you next week. And once again, thank you for spending some time with me. Holy shit. And thanks. All right. I'm sorry, guys.